Okay, welcome back to Smirking Gun. I'm Rob, turning on my light. Bing! Here to do the holy fucking shit, one of the greatest episodes of Game of Thrones, which was season 6, episode 2, called Home. It is unbelievably good. This has got to be in the top 5 probably at this point. I already am gonna say it. I give it 10 out of 10. So, everybody at this point, if you haven't watched this episode, full spoilers, get the hell out and run and go see this episode as soon as you can. But, Jon Snow's back. Jon Snow. He's in here somewhere. There he is. It's kind of like what everybody thought was going to happen. I mean, not everyone. There were some people that are just like, it's not going to happen. And I wouldn't have been surprised if they just left him on the slab and if that was it. It's over. They're going to burn his body. But Melisandre did it. She pulled it off. And I mean, it was kind of obvious. I mean, they all leave the room and you just see Ghost sitting there and, you're just waiting for him to react to Jon waking up. Or about to. And that's exactly what happens, and it was shocking. I was waiting for his eyes to open. I was like, ah. So, I mean, that's fucking great. I'm so glad this show is, they killed one of your heroes, your favorite characters, and somehow they brought him back. That doesn't happen very often. So, there's the other. Can't remember. Beric Dondarrion, I think, is the only one I've ever seen come back on the show. So now we to get that out of the way, because it's such a crazy scene. We start off with Bran and the Three-Eyed Raven going back to like having a vision of Winterfell back when Ned was a boy and people were happy. And that was pretty cool to see. I want to say Elara. I always get some of these names screwed up, but they're all being kids like they were. I think that was the point. Then you find out that Hodor, his real name is Willis, and he could talk. It's crazy. You want to know what happened? I want to know what happened to him almost more than anything. So after that, Max von Sydow tells him we gotta go. After seeing all that little scene. And we find out that Mira's outside and she's kind of looking hopeless. But one of the child of the forest tells her that she's going to need to help Bran out. So she, then she stands up and they show like another one of these fantastic Game of Thrones shots where you can tell how much money is getting put into this, where she sees this huge icy expanse, snowy expanse, where you could definitely see where an army of undead, a huge army of undead people would be coming for the rest of the world. And that was pretty cool looking. And it, now we get to the first scene at the wall where Davos and the rest of the guys and Ghost are about to get attacked by Alliser and the rest of the traitors, and they're busting down the door, and all of a sudden there's this huge boom and their like gate comes flying open and a giant comes flying out, and the rest of the wildlings, I think it's Gren, that went after him and told him what happened, and they're basically in a standoff kind of. And except the giant takes a crossbow bolt and he grabs the dude and just slams him against the wall. Like you could hear the splat. And just tosses him. And the rest of the Night's Watch, they all surrender. Alliser's pissed off because they're all surrendering. But they all get put in prison cells there because that's where they belong. And that was really cool. I mean, seeing Tormund come in with all of them and realizing like the Night's Watch, man, and they seem to be over. I think like not all of them, but I think the Night's Watch is going to change dramatically after this season. So, at King's Landing. We go there, and there's this guy who I think he was one of the guys that was actually at, he could have been an actor they hired, but I think he was actually one of the guys that was showing off his penis in front of Cersei during her walk of shame. And he's bragging, and he goes to take a piss, and he meets Robert Strong, who I don't know if he was there on accident or she went, she wanted this guy dead, because he went and found this guy and just smashes his head in with no effort at all. I mean, it was just splat again. We're getting a lot of deaths in this episode, which is great. It's always fun to see that stuff. Well, after that, he goes to see Cersei. She tries to go see Myrcella, her body in the sept, but she's blocked by Tommen's soldiers saying that she's stuck where she is because Tommen knows that if she tries to go to the sept, she's probably going to get killed. And she doesn't like that. And I thought, you think there could be an exciting Robert Strong fight against those guys, but she heads back. And, then we see, Tommen and Jaime talking about, how a king's supposed to be strong and blah, blah, blah. And then the High Sparrow shows up, and Tommen goes to see Cersei, but Jaime and him have this kind of standoff where, Jaime's wanting to kill this guy, and the guy's basically saying, go ahead and do it. I'm a sinner just like everybody else is. And then his disciples come out with, swords and crossbows and all sorts of shit. And basically it's that, the High Sparrow is like, we may be no one, but we could take down an empire. And Jaime kind of like backs off, because he knows if he kills this guy, he could probably take a bunch of them, but he might end up dying. And he needs to tell probably Tommen and that what these guys are up to. So Tommen, we have this kind of scene with Tommen and Cersei, and it's just kind of there. I mean, anybody that's not us kind of thing needs to go. And one of the best scenes, again, there's so many good scenes, is Tyrion, he says so many good lines in this. I drink and I know things. And he decides to go free the other dragons because he knows a lot about dragons. He read a lot. And that scene was really intense because he did not know what was going to happen. But he does. He frees the dragons, which is really cool. You assume they're going to get out. Maybe go after Daenerys. Maybe that's their, ace in the hole. Yeah, Tyrion's like, if I ever come up with an idea like that again, punch me in the face. It's really good. So, sorry, I got kind of a cold. And we got Arya, who, after getting her ass whooped again by this girl with the stick, she actually, stands her ground against, it might be the same person, the Jaqen H'ghar looking guy. And he tries to get her to, say, her name so that she'll get a bunch of stuff. If she says she's, a girl, is no one. I can't remember what she said. Shit. But then he basically kind of he's gonna probably give her the things that she wants, because he's like, you're not a beggar anymore. You don't need that, and you don't have to sleep on the streets. So, and we get to another great scene where it's Roose Bolton and Ramsay, and they find out that Ramsay just had a son, and Roose has just had a son, and Ramsay's giving him this plan of going after, I want to say, shit. They were going, there were so many things going on in this. Point is, Roose basically called him a mad dog, and he didn't agree with his plan. And when Ramsay finding out that it's a boy, he stabs Roose to death and kills his father. Tells him, tell it was, guys that, our enemies poisoned him. So then he says, I want to, find, my mother and my new brother. And he proceeds to lead her to his dog cages where he has them kill, the baby and her. This guy is just unbelievably, he's got to be worse than Joffrey at this point. I mean, it's so hard to compare because they were both so terrible. But people don't want to mess with Ramsay anymore. We get to the scene where Sansa and Brienne and Pod and Theon are in the woods, and Sansa finds out about Arya. They don't know where she is, but she could be alive. And then Theon decides to leave, and basically he wants to die. Then, we're back to... nope. Then we get another great scene where after arguing with his daughter, Theon's sister, Balin is out on the bridge, this little rope bridge, and is thrown over by his brother, Euron. So that's an introduction of that character. And then you get to his burial, and you get to the King's Moot, which is a thing where that's how they decide how to pick a king. So anyway, that's basically everything. Amazing production. This is the best season yet. This is the best episode yet. So this is Rob from Smirking Gun saying I will be back next week for episode 3, which is called Oathbreaker. That can mean a lot of things at this point. So come back, like and subscribe if you want. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.